Gilmore, right?
He's not old enough for
Have you got your timer? Good for you. May I ask that you 2 minutes? I can sit there and I have a stick. Who said the board will always have this?
17-18 county budget. Tonight we want to maximize the opportunity for as many as possible to be able to speak. So we've established a 2-minute time limit. There'll be an electronic clock on the screen here that will help you with that. And I'd also like to ask that my fellow commissioners refrain from comment until everyone in the public has a chance to speak that desires to do so. I realize that when government talks about potentially raising taxes, that emotions run high. I'd only ask that your comments tonight be made in civility. We've got 7 county commissioners, and while we don't always agree on every issue, I can say unequivocally that every commissioner is committed to being a good steward of your assets and ultimately making Glynn County a better place to live and to work. This time I'd like Mr. Howers to open up with a brief comment.
Good evening. Welcome to this evening's town hall meeting. The chairman has asked me to provide some brief comments regarding the proposed budget. The proposed budget moves Glynn County forward in a proactive way, follows the county's new strategic plan, promotes an increase in public safety, and invests in needed capital items. The proposed budget also stops the use of fund balance to balance a budget. The proposed budget supports a population of approximately 85,000, which has grown by almost 20,000 individuals since 2000. The proposed budget also supports services to close to 2.7 million visitors each year. Between 2009 and 2013, the county lost $3.7 billion in market value and $1.5 billion in assessed value as a result of the Great Recession. Revenues dropped by over $12 million annually during this period of time. When the revenues decreased, the budget was cut by a like amount. Positions were eliminated, 2 assistant county administrators, and several employees in planning and building inspection, just to name a few. Employee benefits were cut, training was slashed, and many other reductions were made. The main increases in the budget the last 3 years have been for bonds for energy efficient project, bonds for the airport improvement project, a lease for new fire trucks, new 911 system improvements, and employee pay adjustments. Because of Scarlet Williams, which caps valuations, 62.7% of all residential properties pay less in tax today than they did in 2009. The last time the millage rate was increased was 28 years ago. Glynn County has the 5th lowest millage rate in the state of Georgia out of 159 counties. With the 2 mil increase, taxes will still be lower than they were 30 years ago and lower than any other county on the coast. Also, with a 2 mil increase, 42% of all residential property owners will still pay less in tax than in 2009 because of lower property values. So why do we need an increase in taxes? It will be very difficult to grow ourselves out of the current deficit. Our forecast for the next 3 years show that the divide between revenues and expenditures does not close even with growth in the digest and sales taxes. We are a people business. We deliver services with people, and we need to continue to invest in our employees. 58% of the budget is for personnel. A public safety employee pay adjustment is included. Since September of 2014, we have lost 58 police officers. The investment made in a certified officer is $16,000 and $25,000 in a non-certified officer. Since September of 2014, we've also had a 25% turnover in paramedics. Since January of 2014, out of 109 detention officers, 77 have left, with pay being a significant factor. We've also had a 14% turnover in communications officers or 911 officers. We also have a need for additional personnel. In the budget request, 73 new positions were requested. In the proposed budget, 18 new positions are included. Of that are 6 new police officers. Since 2007, we've had the same number of patrol officers. As it was pointed out in the budget transmittal letter, it takes longer now for an officer to arrive on the scene of a call than it has before. The number of calls continue to increase. When you have a shootout like we had last weekend at the motel, every second counts. A position of internal auditor is also in the budget to audit departments and to ensure that our finances are being handled correctly by all departments, including elected officials. 5 new positions in community development to meet the increased demand for service based on the rebound in the economy. 1 code enforcement officer for our new litter enforcement initiative. We also have new capital equipment in the budget. For example, we have 3 new fire trucks. We need to maintain our ISO rating of 3, which for a county government is very good. The highest rating that the city of Brunswick has is a 1, but a 3 for a county is excellent. Reliable fire trucks is key to protecting our homes and businesses. Our firefighters do an exceptional job every day, and one recent example is how they protected Glendale Baptist Church from the commercial fire only 25 feet away. New technology is needed. We need a new financial system. Our financial system is outdated. We need new software for our courts. State court will not be able to continue to support the number of hours of actual court hearings without additional technology. For example, an e-citation system, which provides electronic ticket in the field. We also need updated technology in our superior courtrooms. We had the same technology as when the courthouse was built 26 years ago. The Emergency Operations Center, the technology there is updated. During Hurricane Matthew, it was very difficult to respond and deal with the emergency like we needed to because the technology was so outdated. So you may ask, what is the impact of the millage increase of 2 mills? On a $100,000 house, it's $80 a year, or $6.67 a month. It has been reported in a recent ad that taxes were going up 40%, to imply that individuals would be paying 40% more in property taxes, which is very misleading. The 40% calculation relates to the increase in the millage rate, not what people pay. For example, let's say our millage rate was 1. Well, if we increased it by 1, that's a 100% increase. If our millage rate was 10 and we increased it by 2 to 12, that would be a 20% increase. But that really is irrelevant compared to what you actually pay. So let's talk about reality. We have the first slide. So this is an actual tax example of an individual in the county. So we have the 3 tax rates for county government. We have the general fund, the fire fund, and the capital projects fund. The total of those 3 is 7.843. In the proposed budget, the general fund increases by 2 mills. The fire fund increases by $500,000 for a total of $10.343. So if there's a home with a market value of $121,000, which equates to an assessed value of $48,400, the current tax bill's actual bill is $1,161.60. The estimated tax bill is $1,282.60, or $10.08 a month. The actual percentage increase is 10.4%. All property owners recently received an assessment notice from the county. So if you were to go to your assessment notice and where it has the assessed value, if you take that value and multiply it, if you have the fire tax, multiply it by 0.0025, that will give you what the impact is for you. In the city, they don't have the fire millage. So we don't have that listed. So in the city, the county tax would go from 6.163 to 8.163. A market value of $103,500 with an assessed value of $41,400. The current tax bill is $1,471.32. This is the total tax bill, including schools and the city. The estimated tax bill is $1,554.12. An additional annual increase of $82.80, or $6.90 per month, which equates to 5.6%. It was also reported that the county had not collected over $7 million in delinquent taxes. The tax commissioner himself, at a meeting last week with the Board of Commissioners, stated that the maximum uncollected taxes for county government is estimated at $1.4 million, not $7 million. The tax commissioner collects taxes for the city, for the school system, and for Glynn County. And he also said of the $1.4 million, approximately 50% will be collected. The county already budgets for this. We budget for delinquent tax collection each year. In the amount of $500,000, we normally collect between $500,000 and $700,000. So it's not newfound money. We budget for it every year. Glynn County is faced with increases in the cost of doing business. We must keep our technology current, and we must maintain a competitive workforce. The proposed budget moves the county forward. At this time, members of the audience are invited to come to the microphone in front of the podium to comment regarding the proposed budget. Speakers will be limited to 2 minutes to allow everyone an opportunity to speak, and the timer will be on the screen.
Let's talk about what's not true, what you've heard so far. Bonds don't affect the income statement. Bonds affect the balance sheet. Fire trucks are under capital lease. That won't affect the income statement or the expenditures. They're leased. It's a balance sheet transaction. The courts have long had Odyssey installed. The judges refuse to use the software. I'd like to know which one of the commissioners or if the county manager has received a commitment from the judges that they're going to use this new technology. Property taxes on your very own budget increased from approximately $22 million to about $33 million and I can't remember the page number, but it's exactly 42.87%, just so you know. You say there's no property tax increase in the last 28 years. In 2013, you increased property taxes 0.49% for a capital budget, which disgracefully, this county never had a capital budget until 2012. You say 7.3 million uncollected taxes, and the tax commissioner did indeed say it's 1.4 million that's applicable to the county. But you also say it's 30% of the 7.3 million, which is about 2,160,000. So I don't know which number is right, but before you go into public, you ought to get a consistent statement. The other thing that has been said is that you've drastically cut expenses over time and the expenditures. In 2014, this Board of Commissioners and the county manager spent $57,723,000, approximately $58 million. In 2015, you spent $59.5 million. And in 2016, you spent $60 million. There's no decrease there. There's no cuts. There's no slashing. And so what troubles me is a lot.
Thank you, gentlemen. You all know me. For the people in the audience who don't, I'm Putty Smith. At a number of special workshops and other meetings, including one at the Republican Ladies Club, I've heard again and again that because of the Scarlett-Williams rule, homeowners will not be greatly impacted by the increase in the millage rate. But that does not speak to the many people in this community who do not own homes, who are tenants, or to people like my wife and myself who do not claim a homeowner's exemption on the home we have owned here for 25 years. The Board of Commissioners' vision statement contains this: Glynn County will be the nation's premier, uniquely diverse, most desirable, eco-friendly coastal community, unquote. Now, we're going to make desirable for whom? And why do we're spending a lot of money on gateways and corridors and so on, and that strikes me as meant to attract more people to the county and more tourists. Now, this budget increase is coming on top of that penny tax increase for SPLOST. That's a 15% or so increase for many people who cannot afford that 15% increase in the cost of living in Glynn County. Let me close by reminding you that the apostles Matthew and Mark report that Jesus said, "The poor you will always have with you." This budget and the SPLOST help you keep the word of Jesus. You're helping to keep the poor poor. Thank you, gentlemen.
There's something that you, up there you have the previous, for your mythical house, 103,000. You show the previous and the current tax. And the annual notice of assessment, it showed for example, the previous fair market value, current fair market value, and so on, but it didn't show the new tax versus the old tax. And I think if they would have another window and show that, I think it might have reduced shock value.
I'm out here so I can talk. I can't talk up there. Now, I propose budget cuts where we could trim down on the budget and take this 2 mil down to approximately 0.8 to 1 mil. I'm not saying that at some point you can't put those things back in, but y'all know the economy is growing, and as it grows, our revenues will grow along with it. Prior commissions have made good investments in the community. We should see those tax revenues go up. I'm not opposed to the county growing so we can continue to provide the services. But it's just like business, gentlemen. Sometimes I see things that will benefit my company, make me more money, but I don't have the time or the money at that point to put into it. So I'll wait. I'm not saying you can't have it at some point. I'm asking you to be a little patient and wait. There's 3 of us don't approve of this. There's 3 of us who are opposed to it. Whatever our reasons are, it doesn't matter. But the bottom line is we don't need to go with a 2 mil increase right now. We can wait. A 1 mil increase will cover these costs, and we may have to wait a little bit to get what we'd like, but eventually we'll get it. Now, I didn't touch the fire fund because I think it's ridiculous that our fire department has equipment that was built the year I was still a sophomore in high school. So I support getting new equipment for the fire. I support the first responders getting a pay raise because what they do is important to this community, and we need them. I didn't touch that. But I did propose funding allocations for unelected boards that get money from this county and spend taxpayer money with virtually no control and no oversight. I couldn't get a second on the vote. Gentlemen, I think we need to sit down again and we need to talk about those things. We can have what we want. It may take a little time. Thank you.
Commissioners, I'm Pat Hodnick Cooper, and I'm here to just tell you that I support you 100%. I know there are a lot of people here that don't believe this, but I'm a realtor, and we have people come to our county every day, come to our office and talk about Glynn County and how they love it, it's beautiful, and they are shocked at how low our taxes are. And I don't think going up $80 per 100,000 on a house is going to change what they think. So that's coming from the real estate side. The other part of this is my family owns over 90 properties in Glynn County. They're not all on St. Simons, some of them are in Brunswick, some of them are in Outline, but this tax increase is going to affect us hugely. Hugely, but my father wanted to make sure that I came tonight and told you all that we support you 100%. You do what you need to do to move this county forward. For not having raised our millage rate in 28 years, absolutely blows my mind. I think that the past commissioners have done some awesome things for us, but I think they kept kicking that can down the road. And y'all have stepped up and know that we have got to do something. So I applaud you for it and support you.
Good evening. My name is James Holland. I live at 232 Buck Swamp Road, and I'm on a limited income, and y'all have heard my problem before. I don't have money to pay more taxes. How can you, people that like spoke just before me, has got millions of dollars in property and make a lot of money? Well, back when I was making money, I paid my damn taxes, more than most people. And now that I'm retired on limited fixed income, you're wanting to take more from me. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know how many of you commissioners have been here more than 10 years, but any of you that's been on the commissioner more than 10 years, it's your damn fault. No prior planning. The 4 P's, prior planning, prevents piss poor performance. Well, right now, that's what we've got. Now, I want us to keep our fire trucks, our police, and our roads and streets up. And I want to know just how many of you have communicated with the Joint Water and Sewer Commission and what they're fixing to go through. They're fixing to raise rates too. Well, that combined with property taxes, it's going to hurt some people. You know why they're going to have to raise taxes? Because the county and city never put any money in that sewage plant, and now it's failing from within. The bacterial digestive system has failed. Therefore, they're putting out partially treated sewage. Now, you add them new sewage charges to this, and then what happens? Y'all better stop and think. We've had it.
Good evening. What Mr. Auer's chart showed for the city paints a rosy picture because it shows a lower tax rate than the county because the fire is not included. But what it doesn't show is the increase that we pay just by virtue of living in the city. So we get punished extra for living in the city. Our taxes are much higher than everywhere else in the county. So I ask you to reconsider your budget. Like Mr. Stambaugh said, take another look at it, see if there's anything you can do. Between SPLOST this year, the increase in property taxes, and the soon rate increase in JWSC, we're getting hit from all sides. The only break that we're going to get this year is that the city has proposed not to increase their millage rate. But as you can see, we're getting hit from multiple angles all at the same time. So I ask you to go back, Mr. Stambaugh, take a look at the budget and see if there's anywhere you could possibly save. and lower that millage rate. I wouldn't have a problem with a 1 mil increase, but to drop all of this on us at once, I think is a bit too much. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mayor Cornell Harvey, and I too speak just as Mr. Commissioner Steinbach spoke about maybe this is entirely too much of a millage increase. What about 1 mil or 1.5 mil? I think as Mr. Bernheim spoke before me, he said about being hit from all sides. I don't think a great leap forward is going to cure what we have here. A phase-in approach would probably be better. However, speaking as a citizen from the city of Brunswick and of this county, I am in favor of doing things the right way. I'm in favor of maybe phasing it in. I'm in favor of the county doing what they need to do. However, please consider who is all going to affect. It's going to affect everybody, people in the city and people also in the county. So let's see if we can do something a little different if we can. If we can't, then I guess I have to live with that. But just like all the other citizens have to live with what the county decision has done. I realize too, the county commission, they have to make some unpopular decisions, and we have to support that. However, we still would like for take a harder look at maybe you tweak your budget if you can. If you can't, then that's fine. But please take a harder look at things. Thank you.
Commissioners, my name is Mike Hodges. I have lived in this community since 1953. I am a property owner, property in St. Simons and property in Brunswick, and I certainly pay taxes. I know most of you personally, and those of you I don't know personally, I know by reputation. Excuse me. I know that you are reasonable and intelligent men, and I know that you care about your community, or you wouldn't be sitting there taking the grief you're taking. Our community has a problem. To provide necessary services, you've been balancing our budget out of our rainy day fund. This is absolutely not wise and cannot continue. And definitely, it's not sustainable. The cause of our problem is obvious. We had a $3.7 billion decrease in our digest value and a $1.5 billion decrease in accessible value brought on by the recession. The problem was exacerbated by Scarlett Williams, which lets values fall but not rise. Almost 63% of our residents pay less in property taxes today than in 2009, but they have the same services or better. The cost of those services certainly has not gone down. Three things can be done here. Change Scarlett Williams, cut service, or raise taxes. You can't change Scarlett Williams. And what services are you going to cut? Police, fire, trash removal, planning. Good government is not free. I urge you to increase my taxes by 10%. It's not the easiest path to take because it's human nature to like to receive and not pay. The best example that I can think of not doing that is decisions made by previous commissions about what to do. That's all that have to do.
3 years ago, I'm from originally Pittsburgh, and this weekend I rode around to some of the fire departments and talked to some of the policemen. I was at one fire department this weekend on Sunday morning, and they had no ambulance because the ambulance was broken down. These services we need, there's no question about it. The police need to be paid more money, the firemen need to pay more money, and the EMS needs to be paid more money. I don't have a problem with that. Secondly, the town I came from, which was Monroeville, Pennsylvania, we have one officer for every 1,000 people. That's just officers that are in patrol cars, the chiefs, the lieutenants, the chiefs and the detectives, that's a different group altogether. We don't have enough police. There's some parts of the county that It takes police a half hour to get there. But all in all, I'm in favor for an increase. I know there's a lot of people in the room that don't want it, but I want a better county to live in. I want a better way of life. And you guys have a tough job here, but that's what I see on it. Thank you.
I've heard several opinions here of what seems to be going on, and quite frankly, and y'all have probably heard this before, I think in some areas you've inherited a mess, okay? I've noticed over the years with the division off of water and sewer, that's something that I really didn't agree with. There's some businessmen from Brunswick years ago that would have never agreed to that situation, but here we are. I do know that probably if this were a private sector situation, we'd naturally have to take care of our mandated thing, our state court offices, our sheriff's department, those kinds of things. Next up, to me, fires, public safety, everything else. But if this was private sector, there'd be a 10% cut across the board in all of the departments for the remainder of the year. I'm not saying we don't need a tax increase. I agree with Mr. Stanbaugh. If we have to have a progressive tax increase over the next few years, that's fine. But to drop it on me, my assessment on my house actually went up 17%. I'm in tax code 3, which is going to put me subject to another 2.5 bills. I did the math on it, and I recently retired. It's not pretty, okay? It's quite a hefty increase. So I'm not saying we don't need a tax increase. I'm saying we don't need it all at one time, and I need to say we need to operate as efficiently as possible in this county until we can get this all figured out and make this a place. And you've got groups here that they've got a dog in the hunt. They want growth in Glynn County. I'm not against growth. I'm not against other people coming here. But for the citizens that are here,
Thank you.
Gentleman, Lisa Norton. I'm very saddened that Commissioner Booker could not be here tonight. I attended a SPLOST hearing, and he very clearly stated that a large portion of his district in the city of Brunswick was very poor, and I would have liked to have seen him here tonight to support his district. Also, I think a lot of the public was led to believe through number crunching that a majority of the tourists were going to pay for SPLOST, and I don't think that was ever proven. I think at best we're 50%, but nonetheless, Mr. Strickland corrected me when I said that he stated if he got SPLOST, we would not raise taxes, and he said, no, Lisa. I said, if we don't get SPLOST, we will raise taxes. So I stand corrected on that. Now, if we did not have 7.3 million delinquent in our tax commissioner's office, I might be in support of this millage increase. But I have to suggest, whether it's through a writ of mandamus or whatever it takes from the county attorney, that those taxes should have been collected. Mr. Hour stated that that was not his job as the county manager, but I suggest he should have gone to these departments and requested cuts in-house in those departments, as well as the tax commissioner producing those cries on the courthouse steps to get those tax deeds. And how many tax deeds do we have in the county now that should be paying taxes into our community? So we've heard from the realtors, but we know that our tourist industry does produce a 7% bed tax. And I ask all of you, even the clergy is coming forward and saying, please be leaders. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Venus Holmes, and I live in District 5. And even though Mr. Booker is not here, I think that 2 meals is outrageous for a lot of us. I'm on a fixed income, and it's hard enough for me to pay my taxes as it is. But for you to jump from where we are now and go to 2%, I think that's really outrageous. Thank you.
outside. Ladies and gentlemen, there's other ways for this county to solve the revenue problems. I believe raising property taxes is not one of them. I have a couple of examples here that I'd like to share with you. For example, your latest tax assessment notices, most of you got in the mail last week. Most of you, I know all of mine, showed a property increase, a valuation. You don't have to raise the millage rate to get more dollars out of that. That's automatic dollars. When your valuation goes up, your millage rate stays the same, but the dollars you pay in are the same millage rate, but more dollars to work with. That alone, just what you saw come in last week, that alone will give us approximately $1.3 million of additional revenue. The lost taxes that we are anticipating, and I use the word anticipating because I don't, quite frankly, I don't think that is an appropriate word. It's pretty much a sure thing. The Sam's Club complex is not even completed yet. And I feel like that our lost taxes that are going to be coming in from just that one area, we're going to be looking somewhere around $1.4 million. With that, in my opinion, a slightly less increase in this across-the-board 10% raise, say just 0.8%. I'm in this thing for a give and take. I think there's a compromise somewhere, and in dropping that millage rate down to say 0.85 or even just 1 mil, you're still looking at some 3.9 million. Now you just add up those three things that I just mentioned there, and you've got somewhere in the neighborhood of over $6 million. I don't believe all the options have been explored here as far as revenue sources go. As I said, I'm looking for a compromise to this issue that most everybody can live with. You're not going to satisfy everybody, but you can live with it. And hopefully, most everybody's going to walk away happy. The problem didn't happen overnight, and we're not going to fix it overnight. But Thursday night is not D-Day on this vote. The proposal that has been put together and put on our agenda for Thursday night's vote, we can defer that. And I propose that we defer that and plan in the very near future a very vigorous workshop with the understanding, no matter how long it's going to take, when we come out of there, we're going to have a budget that we feel like everybody can live with, and that we have exhausted all of our efforts for all of our revenue sources.
Forward to seeing as many of you there as would like to attend. And again, thank you very much for your participation tonight.